Hello, welcome to podcast number 47. My name's Gareth Evans. This is Mr. Henry. I've got a headache. Cooper.
I do. I'm not very well.
He's not very well at all. Hello, Across Podcast. Shreve Pedredig Scythe. No, this week, but
join Patreon to pay for my medical care.
Yeah, Henry's been poorly. This is why. Apologies to the patrons that this podcast is a day late because of illness, because migraines. Right? What can you do about them?
Well, yeah,
you can't. I can't force you to work.
But then
I try my best, but I can't force you to work.
It's not just this one. Wasn't just a headache. My whole communicative. See, evidently, part of the problem still exists because I can't say the word. Yeah.
So I'm just playing my tiny violin here.
But the thing is, in a job which literally involves you speaking about things, it makes that job literally impossible.
Yeah, that's true.
So I will
let you off. You can't even play games, can you? When
not really
in that state. Anyway, so today we've got a feast of stuff for you. First, I'm not sure what order we're going to do them, but we have got a roundup of smaller stories which Henry's prepared.
Just little
nuggety type stories. We're going to go in deep on the Warcraft 3 debacle. You might have heard some of which about that. We're going to break it all down so you know exactly what happened, when it happened, and why it all happened. I'm going to talk a little bit about Graveyard Keeper, which I've been playing on my Switch because I've been on a plane and I went to visit developers in Poland. I went to play Outriders.
A mystery game.
Yeah. I went to play, what the fuck was it? Outriders, right? I'm getting confused between Outriders and Out.
Yes, I think that was the one Outriders, you went to play.
Yeah. Outriders. Sorry, I confused. Yeah, the problem was that there's just no information about the game up until that point, right? It was the very first hands-on. I can't talk about the game in this podcast. That's
you're getting confused because you don't know what you can and can't say.
Yeah, it's under embargo until I can't even say when it's embargoed to. But at some point in the future, where I will dump all this new information about this game that nobody knows anything about on you because it is a doozy. It's a doozy information.
Sorry, we'll have to set up a code. Blink once if it's good, blink twice if it's really good, blink 3 times if it's really bad, blink 4 times if you've pre-ordered it.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But yeah, it's worth hearing about. It is worth hearing about. No matter, I can't say anything. Just subscribe to the channel. There will be a lot of content coming about Outriders, if I can get the name right. Outriders. So yeah, I visited there. I can talk a little bit about my experience, I guess, not about the game, but the experience. We're also, after that, going to be taking questions from the Discord community. That's the Patreon community over in the Discord channel. We will be reading the Triggered Fanboy comment of the week, as well as reading some other YouTube comments that we found quite entertaining this week. And finally, we're going to be reading the dad joke of the week. So that's kind of not the running order, but that's what's in the content today. That's what we're going to be covering. So bear with us if I'm a bit jet lagged because it's a whole hour difference to Poland. Totally jet lagged when I got back. It was devastating.
And then you took yesterday off just to relax, and I took yesterday off because I was ill.
Yeah, well, I was home at 1:30 in the morning after a 36-hour whirlwind stop.
I was in bed by 4 p.m. because I was fucked. That was on Wednesday, and then I didn't get up again.
I did try and write yesterday, but we're on Friday now, so it was yesterday when we didn't there was no content because we were both unable to
indisposed.
Produce. But there we go. So Henry, get us started.
Right, let's try and muster up some motivation.
Activate your brain, will you?
Oh, I haven't done that for years. All right, so we're just going to knock out a few quick little itty-bitty stories, which I just saw and thought they sounded interesting. So the first one I got up is the Witcher animated series, which we briefly touched on, I think, last week, which is meant to be... Sorry, not an animated series, it's an animated film. It's maybe to do with the Witcher live-action show. Maybe it's in its own canon. Who knows? But apparently it's going to focus on Vesemir, which is Geralt's mentor. In case you didn't know, he's sort of important in the Witcher 3 game. He hangs out with you for a bit, but then kind of buggers off.
Yeah, not important at all in the show.
No, yeah, they name dropped him towards the end, and I think Geralt's going to go find him.
In the final episode, I think they name dropped him.
Who's this Vesemir person? So I would predict, this is unconfirmed, but I'd predict that this is going to serve as his background origin story type thing, and if it's animated, it means they can knock it out much faster.
Yeah.
And it won't necessarily be like important to watch, but you never know. But the quote is that was on the Twitter announcement is, long before mentioning Geralt, Vesemir begins his own journey as a Witcher after the mysterious Deglan claims him through the Law of Surprise. So the Law of Surprise thing is coming back, but beyond that, we don't know anything else, and that's that for that tiny story. I said it would be a small one, and it is a small one. So we're moving on quickly onto yet another Final Fantasy VII trailer for the remake, obviously. This is called like the theme tune trailer or the theme song trailer, right? Theme tune, sing the theme tune, all that. Shows off some more of Midgar, and in case you weren't aware, this remake is only taking place in Midgar, and if you've played the game, you'll know that that's just one section of the much larger game. It's like a 30-40 hour game, but Midgar's one small area.
Yeah.
And this game, they're spending the entire thing there, and then everything outside of that is supposed to be in its own game, which is kind of weird, and they've not really explained how that's going to work, or whether you pay for it once and then it gets added as like episodes or what. They don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. It looks like Midgar, to me anyway, because I've been playing it recently. We do get to see Cloud disguised as a girl, which is great, because there was some people worried that wasn't going to happen. There's a bit where there's a really creepy guy called Corneo, which I only learned today is Spanish for horny. And that gives you all the details you need to know about him. Cloud has to disguise as a girl to get close to him, so make of that what you will.
Excellent.
You see the Honeybee Inn, which is sort of like a strip club, brothel, kind of boudoir, very lavish places. It's that which you're currently watching in front of you. You see a bit of a flashback with Tifa and Cloud back when they were kids, and they make this little promise to each other, but there's more to that than meets the eye. You see a little bit more of this new character, a brand new character for the remake, who's not in the original. He's part of Soldier, which is like their super soldier kind of team, and he's brand new, not in the original, but he's in this one, and I guess he's going to be more important. Get our first proper look at Red 13, who's one of your party members that you unlock later on, and he's like a big cat type creature. He's sort of like a tiger or a lion. There he is again.
Yeah,
see,
got him.
He's
right on cue. There he is.
See, I've got awesome. This perfect.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, he's like a sort of experiment. They've been fiddling with him for a bit, but he's got a bunch of cool magic powers. I like Red 13. He's one of my favorites. You get a look at a bunch of the baddies, including Heidegger, Scarlet, Palmer, Reeve, Hojo, and one of the multiple forms of Genova, because Genova's basically just a big sludge monster with crap stuffed into it. But the others, this is the first proper look at Scarlet, Palmer, Reeve, and Hojo is a right bastard. He's a right bastard, mate. He's a right fucking bastard. I was trying to think for a Cockney rhyming slang for bastard, I couldn't think one. But yeah, he's one of those guys who's sort of the bad guy behind everything, because he's the science guy.
Right.
Like everything
he's the brains
goes
behind
wrong.
the outfit.
And then it shows off a bunch of gameplay, which it is pretty much in line with what we've already seen. It's more of the half real-time, half turn-based sort of gameplay stuff. But just there again on
you can switch in between though, right?
Yeah, you can. You do normal attacks with like your face buttons on a controller.
Yeah.
And then I think you hold down one of the triggers and it opens up your like tactical menu, which means you can then do your spells and special moves.
And pauses, right?
Yeah, and that super slows down time. But that's pretty much it. It gives us this new little theme song, which is by a chap I can't remember the name of, but it's all, it's moody and dramatic and lots of explosions and stuff. But they seem to have really padded out the content for this one section. Like, when this comes out in April, they have to tell people what's next.
Yeah.
Because the game doesn't just end when this one will end.
Right.
When the remake ends, there's loads more to go.
Because this is part one of at least two, right?
At least two.
At least two, but we don't know that, right?
And you spend like maybe 5 hours out of your 30 to 40 hour playthrough in Midgar before going into like an overworld, and you go to different towns and different places, and there's a lot more to it.
Yeah. Well, one thing's for certain, that we will be covering this game around launch. So if you are interested in it, again, another reason to subscribe to the channel. I recently met the Square Enix. I'm familiar with the Square Enix PR people, so I have on good authority that we will be able to cover this. I don't know if we're going to get a pre-release code or what, but we will definitely be in the know on this for however we possibly can. So we're hoping to get early access to it and to provide reviews and impressions around the time of launch.
Definitely. I mean, sure. I've been mainlining Final Fantasy content into my veins for the past few weeks after having missed out. That's it. After having not played it for the 20 years since it came out. Yeah. It was like 97, I think. So I've been really enjoying it, and now I get to enjoy the hype as it's building with the remake. Anywho, moving on to another little one. This is even smaller. Jedi Fallen Order, big Star Wars game. You may have heard of it. It was pretty good. I wasn't as keen on it as a lot of people were, but
it was pretty good.
It sold really well. Yep, they see.
There's the bell.
I'm glad someone's ringing it. EA, Electronic Arts, did their quarterly sales results thing, when they say, oh, we've sold this many millions, but we're not happy because we didn't sell this many billions.
Yeah.
And they didn't give any specific numbers on Jedi Fallen Order, but they said that it hit the high end of their sales projections, and their sales projections were between 6 and 8 million, which means that the game definitely sold 8 million, which is huge. It's done really well for them, and that's a decent number. That should serve as a good little kick up the arse for EA, being like, yeah, single player games are still alive. They're still valuable.
Well, it was them who kicked off the whole debate around single player games being dead, and the whole trend in the industry away from single player narrative based games towards the old
always
service based game that you can monetize as much as you want. I mean, 8 million. Whether they consider that a hit or a miss is in dispute. It's probably it's not that much of a hit for them. But what were they expecting?
Yeah, they're not going to. You will make more money with a game like FIFA. You will just do it. But this is still above their expectations.
The sad truth is, if they sell 2 million copies of FIFA, they'll make more money off that in microtransactions than they will off 8 million copies of, and that gives you some indication of, how much money you can make off these service-based games. And FIFA is their biggest money maker every year. Every year they are close to $1 billion, I think it was last year, maybe even more. I don't know. It's around it's hundreds of millions worth of dollars every single year, and every single FIFA. That's how much they make off them. So,
and the amount of dev time it takes to make a game like Jedi Fallen Order, whereas FIFA, they can knock them out every year because they're pretty much the same fucking game. You just copy and paste features. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to some more sales stuff now, and Gaz will have already talked to you about this a little bit in the Daily Triple, but that's in the future for us, but it's in the past for you. Isn't time travel wonderful? But this is all about Nintendo, and EA have had a pretty good moment with Jedi Fallen Order, but Nintendo have had a staggering 2019. So apparently the company's revenue is up 30% year over year
in that quarter.
Yeah, for that quarter.
Quarter three, which is the holiday period quarter,
which is always the biggest period because it's Christmas time. But 30% is a huge up.
Yeah.
They apparently, as of now, from 2019, they've sold 52 million Switches in total, which is a lot. Luigi's Mansion 3 and Super Mario Maker 2 both sold about 5 million, which is incredible. Link's Awakening sold 4 million, and remember that's a remake.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's hugely popular. Fire Emblem Three Houses was at over 2.5 million, and people are surprised that there was another Fire Emblem character going in Smash. Mm-hmm. I mean, with numbers like that, you can't deny it. Astral Chain and Marvel Ultimate Alliance were a little bit lower, but still pretty impressive at 1 million. But the big boy, which I'm sure Gaz has already talked about, is Pokemon Sword and Shield, which cracked 16 million copies in 6 weeks.
So that's between when it released and the end of the year.
Yeah.
6 weeks, they sold 60 million copies, making it the 5th most sold game on that console in 6 bloody weeks. I think...
Yeah.
I mean, I went through I'm going to go through the top 5 list in the show on Friday. But that's... I mean, number 1 is Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Have you got them here?
Yeah, I've got some of them here. So, Mario Kart 8 is currently the like highest selling one, which is at 22.9 million, and it's the only one anywhere near that right now.
Yeah.
Then there's other older titles like Smash Ultimate, which is at 17 million. Mario Odyssey, which is at 16.5, and then Breath of the Wild, which is much further down than I was expecting, at 16.3 million.
The problem with Breath of the Wild is that it's an open world RPG and it's not for the kids.
Exactly.
Right? Mario Kart's for everyone. Mario Kart's for everyone, no matter how old. And the problem, not the problem, but the thing about the Nintendo Switch is that it's targeted at a very specific demographic. Now, the fact is that it came out that there's no Switch Pro being...
despite multiple rumors saying otherwise, but Nintendo say no.
The reason why they've done that, I think, I mean, I didn't speculate too much in the video on Friday, or the video I'm going to make, weird how that works, is because the Nintendo Switch is going strong, so strong now because it's targeting the younger demographic, right? That's what the Nintendo Switch Lite was targeted at late last year, and that, you know, and it's because of the Nintendo Switch Lite releasing that they've had such a bump. I think they sold 2 million of that already, something like that. So it's contributed massively to the 30% up that they were in this quarter. And so the Furukawa, the CEO guy, he said that no plans to release a Nintendo Switch Pro. They're just going to focus on what they've got now, which is the regular Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch Lite, because they can, if they focus on them, it's appealing to the key demographic. It's appealing to the kids. They can sell all this software. All the software that comes out is mainly focused at this demographic. The Nintendo Switch Pro will be a very niche demographic in comparison. Yeah. Therefore, all the efforts that they put into the Nintendo Switch Pro, it'll be a higher price point. It'll be a lot of effort, which might be outdated in a couple of months later when the next next console, Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 get released. There'll be all that buzz around those new consoles. The Nintendo Switch Pro might get forgotten about, and it just doesn't. They've probably like balanced that out. On balance, it's probably not worth the investment in trying to rush something to market that's going to be very soon obsolete. Maybe just focus on it a year after the other consoles arrive or something like that. It probably makes sense for them to consolidate what they've got now and the growth. But then again, it doesn't stop me wanting the Nintendo Switch Pro.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I absolutely do want the Nintendo Switch Pro.
A little bit of extra power and screen size and all that will go a long way. But if they say it doesn't make any sense to them because that's, as you say, it's not their demographic, they're not going to. Well,
that was my speculation. Really, they just said that there's no plans. It doesn't mean that the plans won't change, but looking at the just at the environment, the ecosystem right now, and the landscape of the industry for the next 12 months, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense considering how strong they've had, the last 12 months for the Nintendo Switch and how well it's doing. It's 53 million units, it's 52 million units sold now, which is reported by some people more than the Xbox One has sold, which tells you something. And the Xbox One, if I remember off the top of my head, 74 months in the market. The Nintendo Switch, 34 months in the market. Nintendo
always kind of work to their own timescale. So if they are going to do a Switch Pro, I wouldn't expect it to coincide with the PS5 and Xbox, whatever it's called, the fridge, Xbox Series X, whatever it is. I wouldn't expect Nintendo to coincide with that anyway, because they'll just come out and pop it whenever they want, because Nintendo have a much more different way of doing things.
They are very unpredictable. Yeah. So who knows? Who knows what
they'll announce it at a direct tomorrow. Just like, we said
and
no
it'll
plans,
be out
but we
by
changed
tomorrow.
Our plans.
We're not planning to release it because it's released.
Yeah. We're just flying by the seat of our pants.
It was already released yesterday. You guys didn't know this.
We're trying to fight the stereotypes of uptight Japanese guys, and we're just gonna freeball it. Who gives a shit? Anyway, so that's it for my little bite-sized stories. Now I want to jump into the big one, which it has got the internet all in a tizzy, as the internet tends to do. But this one is one of the more legitimate ones of recent years, and it's probably the biggest controversy of the year. And
it's the only. I mean, we got to the 31st. Is it the 31st?
Yeah, it's the 31st
today, and we got all this way without any controversies, and like there's YouTubers starving out on the streets because they haven't got any ad revenue, and like lo and behold, like the sky opened up and shined some light on them, and finally these controversial YouTubers get to make some money.
We count ourselves among them. Like,
I know it's only a joke, but yeah, everyone can make a good. Make a good controversy.
There's going to be some small channels they're hovering around the 10 to 20,000 mark, and this story is going to be the one to get them through that 100. But anyway, what we're talking about Warcraft, specifically Warcraft 3, specifically the remake of Warcraft 3 called Warcraft 3 Reforged. Now, why are people mad about an 18-year-old game? Well, this is my forced attempt at a joke here because I thought it's 18. I've got to make a joke here. You can legally drink when you're 18 in the UK. It's the way it should be all over the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But Warcraft has gone too hard on its first night out and vomited all over itself. And that vomit is called Warcraft 3 Reforged.
So, yeah. What is Reforged? Like, what is it? It's a new version of completely new, but it's supposed to be like...
So it's like... one of these quasi remakes that everyone's talking about these days, just like with Final Fantasy and Resident Evil. They're like, it's making everything look pretty, but also tweaking things, and there's going to be some more dramatic changes and some more subtle changes. So back at BlizzCon 2018, when the game was announced, so it's not been talked about for that long, the remake of the classic fantasy RTS was officially unveiled, but there was this like trailer, or like not really a trailer, it's more like a cinematic, that's it, like a cutscene where they'd redone it. They'd done it from new character models, tweaked voice acting, and like dynamic camera angles instead of just stilted walking animations and stuff. When the actual game came out, which was earlier this week, that just wasn't the case. That's the most kind of obvious one. And you can immediately jump on that and say, well, that's false advertising. That's what you said I was getting. And that's what I did get.
Yeah.
Those are not the same thing.
It's not like a downgrade where you can compare to what they promised and what was delivered. The graphics aren't that much different. It's just the production of it. It looks completely different.
Yeah.
The 2018
the cinematography is so different.
2018 version, you've got like very cinematic camera angles, and you've got
character animations and stuff.
Whereas the release version, you've got like a really wide shot of them just walking as they're talking, and there's just no. It's like it looks completely different, and there's one is obviously better than the other, and the one that's better is the 2018 version. Now, why they've decided to roll it back and change it like that, it's beyond me, because I can't see that it affects the performance of the game that much. It can't be performance related decision.
Well, IGN did a literal side by side which matched up the audio of the new cutscene thing that was in the shipped version and then what was promised back at BlizzCon, and they are night and day different in terms of quality and just everything. But also the whole upgraded version of Warcraft 3, the reforged version, was supposed to add new character models, reworked cutscenes, fixing balancing issues, updating the UI, etc., etc. Top to bottom overhaul for like just tweaking the game, making it the best possible version of the game. Kind of like WoW Classic, which launched towards the end of last year, and that
did really well, really,
really, really, really popular. But that's totally just not what happened here. And like when I started reading up on this story, I was like, where is this game? Like, why have I not heard of anything about this? When WoW Classic was going, everyone was talking about it, and everyone was like, oh yeah, it's going to come out this point, blah 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 blah. But with Warcraft 3, there's been no marketing push whatsoever. It's just they've kind of shoveled it out, then just kind of run away and to move on to the next thing.
A bit like the way you shovel shit out of a stable.
Exactly. I'm glad that you got the stretching analogy there. And again, if you compare that to WoW Classic blew Twitch out of the fucking water. Like, it dominated everything. It knocked down Fortnite, League, all that. It's still at number 3 on Twitch, so it's still... people still interested in it. Yeah. Although I did look earlier, one guy had about 30,000 viewers. All the others were like 1,000, 2,000. I was like, well, come on, guys, just share. It's like, come on.
That's the thing with Twitch. One popular streamer plays a game and it jumps up the...
Yeah, whoever gets there first will take it. So yeah, there's the blatant false advertising of here's what it was shown to look like and here's what we actually got. That's not very good. But one thing they did get right, and it's kind of the only thing, and it's sort of the thing you don't really care about, is the character models. And the character models have all been updated and they look pretty. But apparently that wasn't even Blizzard who did that. It was outsourced to this other company in Malaysia, this like VFX house called Lemon Sky, and they've worked on a bunch of different games doing, cinematic type things. But the one thing in this Blizzard game that was good, Blizzard didn't do. Someone else did it.
Nice.
But thing is, it's an RTS. It's a real-time strategy game. Mm-hmm. The only time you're ever going to notice how good these character models look is if you zoom right in and it's like, oh, look at his great big shoulder pads because you've got ridiculous proportions in a Warcraft game. But you're not playing like that most of the time. You're going to be zoomed out to see as much of the battlefield as you can and deploy your units all over the place. Like, it just doesn't make any sense why that would be the like number one priority. But then from a technical perspective, this version, the Reforged version, is arguably, to put it kindly, or absolutely worse than the original version because there's a bunch of connectivity issues. People can't, get into lobbies and stuff together, or not. They can't actually play the game because the BattleNet isn't cooperating with it. People can't access custom campaigns because custom campaigns and custom games were a huge part of Warcraft 3, and we'll get onto that in a minute because that's a huge deal. And there's no competitive leaderboard and ladder support, which again was a huge part of the community, which is it's just not there. And if you were wondering if people were happy about this, they're not. And currently, to get a live reading of the Metacritic score, which is currently being really, really slow. Well, before it loads, I've got it down.
I just checked it now. It is 0.9.
Is 0.9 user score on Metacritic. 0.9. I'm just let that hang there in a bit.
That is one of the worst scores ever, right?
And that's based on 159 positive, 39 mixed, and a whopping 2,313 negative reviews at the time of recording.
It's more than that now. I'm pretty sure when I just clicked it, it was 5,000 overall. So if 0.9% of that is...
it's 5,000 overall, yeah.
It's
just that they've not fully, probably not updated it yet. So, yeah, that's not very good. People aren't happy. But hey, if you don't like all these changes, that's whatever. I won't buy the new one. I'll just stick with the old one. Stick with the original one.
Just do that, eh?
And I'll just do that. No, you can't. Because the new one has replaced the old one. So even if you didn't buy it...
As a free update.
Yeah, as a free update. Even if you didn't buy it, the only thing you're buying now is the upscaled models and to make things look prettier.
Yeah.
All of the features and stuff have just been smushed in with the old version. So all of the problems in the old version are still there and they haven't been fixed. And then all the new problems from the new version are also there as well for everyone to suffer with.
Such a horrible decision, that. Horrible decision. For a company who... If you consider the fact that they put out an original version of World of Warcraft because of the fact that they changed it so much over the years that people wanted to play the original vanilla version, the fact that they've done this to the players who are still around, stuck around after all those years and still playing it and still supporting it and still generating user content and whatever, the fact that they've done this and they've imposed this without giving them a choice to stick with the older version is absolutely bullshit, man.
It's like,
it's ridiculous.
If you buy something, you make a choice to engage with that thing. But if you're innocently just want to play your Warcraft game, it was fine the way it was. You don't care about upscale graphics. They have sabotaged your game without you asking them to.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's just a game killing update for some people. Now, looping back to the custom games thing. Now, this was a huge part of the original experience, and you may have heard of a little game called Dota 2, Defense of the Ancients 2. That was born from Warcraft 3. Again, it was a mod which allowed people to kind of create this game called Dota, and then it got so big and popular that it then essentially broke away from Warcraft and went completely independent and is its own thing, owned by Valve, not by Blizzard. Valve swept it up and they helped finance it, and they own it. It's one of their IPs. And now, as a result of a brand new policy, which was updated as of all of this launch stuff, every single bit of user-generated content in Warcraft 3 Reforged belongs to Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, and this is an absolute scandal. And you think that there's so many people who support a game like this. User-generated content is massive in terms of the longevity of a game like this. And it worked so well in the past with the original game. The fact that it spawned off other games essentially is testament to the fact that
entirely new universe.
How much creativity was being poured by communities into this game. The fact that they weren't able to monetize that has obviously grated them, and they're like, well, we don't want other people making money off making content out of our game, so we're going to make all the money, and you're going to make fuck all money. But not only are they going to make fuck all money, they're going to make fuck all full stop, because then nobody's going to be supporting this game. Nobody's going to be generating user content for this game if they know that a big, huge, money-hungry corporation is just going to be the only ones capitalizing off of it. So nobody at all. It just goes to show, like, they're just strangling the life out of it because of greed, and what they're going to end up with is a dead game.
And they don't want other people making money off their product. I think a lot of people can understand. Yeah, fair enough. Don't make money of it. But Blizzard, in their new policy, they own, it's called like the moral rights to it or something like that, moral law, which means that they don't have to give credit to anyone who creates anything. It will be, this map, blah, blah, made by Activision Blizzard. And then I don't know if they would be able to do this, but I'm sure as shit think they would try. If you made a mod in Warcraft 3 and then took it and were like, oh no, that's a really good idea. Why don't we get a few mates and get some money together and do it separately, but the same concept? Technically, Activision Blizzard would own that intellectual property, that idea, and then would sue you into the fucking ground. So it's ridiculous. Like, they are technically within their rights to restrict you doing what they want, because it is their product, and if they don't want you making money off it or anything like that, they technically can. But it's so disingenuous to what the community is and what Blizzard has helped build itself on. Because what was it when they had the whole Blitzchung thing? They had the statue outside their offices where, like, every voice matters. So every voice matters until you say something we disagree with, or every voice matters until you build something, in which case it's our thing. We own it, and we're going to monetize it if we want to. If not, we're just going to burn it.
It's obviously very sour point for them, the fact that Valve picked up an offshoot of one of their games, and this is the result of it. The community, it's about greed. It's what it is. Somebody sat there in a meeting and said, well, they made all this money off what was originally our IP. How do we stop that? How do we make sure that we make all the money off our IP? But what they didn't realize is that the side effect of that means that they won't be making any additional money, because why would people bother making content for this game if they're just going to be essentially ripped off? I mean, they're being violated essentially. But there you go.
What they should be doing is, if someone makes a really cool mod and you're like in a Blizzard or Activision exec, you're like, that looks really good. Employ them. Give them a job. Even if it's this one guy, and like, all right, we're going to put you in a little box office in the corner. Just see what you can make, and we'll pay you for your time. And then if we like it, we'll turn it into something. That's how you make money.
That's a good point.
Like, it's just ridiculous. And there's so many game modes and modded content in Warcraft 3. Like, there's a dedicated Dragon Ball one where you can roleplay an RTS game with Dragon Ball characters, or a Super Mario one with Super Mario characters like Yoshi and Goombas and of course Mario. So they're just, as you say, stifling is the word, because they're just going to stifle all creativity and just not let it go. But you might be thinking, oh, well, that fucking sucks. I bought this game. I don't like it. I've played it under the 2-hour window, which is generally the refund period.
Yeah.
Let me just refund it. Ha! Nope. That's not happening, because people are getting banned on forums for trying to...
They're reporting that they're being banned, right?
Yeah. They're saying that they're being banned. But they're being banned on forums for teaching people, or like a step-by-step guide on how to get refund. And it's basically step A all the way through Z to maybe get a refund. Jumping through hoops over and over and over again. And then it's like Blizzard are hiding behind, it's our policy, we don't have to do it, blah, blah, blah. But your policy doesn't mean shit if consumer rights and, legally enforceable consumer rights are being broken by your policy. It's ridiculous.
True. That is true.
So if you want just to to quickly recap everything.
And all the problems with this game, because it's multifold, right? There's not just one thing that went wrong with this. There's a lot of reasons why people are unhappy, and not just new players, but old players too.
Yeah. So Warcraft 3 Reforged, which is the remade one, changed what was shown in the trailers. What people were sold is not what people paid for.
Were shown, yeah.
Exactly. The updated cutscenes were not what was promised, and that would arguably be forgivable because it's only a minor thing, but it's still, in principle, it's not what was advertised. The character models do look good. You have to give them credit there, but not credit to Blizzard because Blizzard didn't do it. It was this other company, Lemon Sky, and you can't even see them if you're trying to play the game properly anyway, because who plays an RTS when you're, ultra zoomed in on your characters? You just don't do it. Multiple technical issues and missing features, and technical issues that are in the original game now, not the updated one, the original one as well as the updated one. You don't own anything that you create as a user in Reforged, so why bother creating anything at all? The original Warcraft 3 has been completely deleted and replaced with the improved one. And if you're unhappy with all of this atrocious service, good luck getting a refund, because you're going to have to jump through a million hoops and fight through policy after policy after policy.
Yeah, it's complete own goal for Activision Blizzard, and a lot of people saying that this is just symptomatic of this is what Activision Blizzard are these days. Like, they're just a money hungry corporation, and they don't care about the fans. And this is despite apologizing at BlizzCon last year after the BlizzChung controversy and all that. It's like, oh, we're sorry, we will do better. Like, how is this any better? We'll
it's just words.
Yeah, we won't just say it. We'll show it with our actions. This is just, you can't defend this. Like, this is just so anti-consumer. And it's unbelievable.
They seemed like they were doing all right with Warcraft, World of Warcraft Classic. Did I get there in the end?
Yeah.
WoW Classic. That's just easier.
WoW Classic.
They took a bunch of steps back, and then they took one step forward when they did WoW Classic, and now they're taking another step back.
And they just slapped themselves in the face.
Is like basically turning around and running in the opposite direction.
There you go. That's basically what the situation is right now. Right? It's all a load.
It'll probably get updated over the weekend, so we'll probably do another video of it in the week when Blizzard eventually come out and say we're sorry.
It might pop up now in the
news cycle.
Yeah, in the Daily Triple. I forgot the name of it then. My brain ain't working. We hadn't covered it before, and I kind of didn't put it in the Daily Triple because it's such a big, so much to cover. It'd be a whole daily video in itself, which is why we covered it in this podcast, so we could do it justice and inform you about exactly what's going on.
And even this is a fairly abridged version.
Yeah, this is a 20-minute talk. Just
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's move on now, and I want to talk next about Graveyard Keeper. Now, for those of you who haven't played this before, it is a game which was published in 2018 on the PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and it's even on Android now. But I've recently picked it up on the Switch because I was going away to Poland, and I played it on the plane and that, and I'm having such fun with it that I thought I'd discuss it and talk to you about it, because it is one of those games that does appeal to me about the Nintendo Switch. I love my RPG games, and this is that, right? And what's weird about this is that it looks a bit like this isn't even working anymore. It looks a bit like Stardew Valley, and it plays a lot like Stardew Valley, except it's got this it's got this very dark kind of world that you inhabit. So just to explain what the premise of this game is, like you're a regular guy in a regular world. It's not like a medieval world or anything, but then something happens, and then you wake up in this new world where this bouncing talking skull's your mentor, and he's talking you through like why you're in this, and you're talking to him. It's like, why am I here? Like, how do I get back home? And he's like, oh, but you're a graveyard keeper now. You've got to tend to these dead bodies. So your job essentially is you pick up these dead bodies, take them to the morgue. You perform an autopsy on them. You strip out a lot of parts of the body, like you strip out the skin, you strip out the brain and stuff like that, and you can use them to make stuff in the world. So you can make like paper out of the skin. You could obviously.
Okay.
And so you can sell the paper, you can turn the paper, you can write on the paper and do other stuff with it. There's a huge complex a thingy system. What do you call it? Technology unlock system. Progression. Huge. Sorry, my brain ain't working. This is why I need the game in front of me. So there's like 6 different technology. 8. What is there? 4, 5, 6, 7 different technology trees.
So instead of like harvesting like crops and plants and stuff like you do in Stardew Valley, you're harvesting body parts.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it because this game is so huge. You do harvest. You can plant crops and stuff, and you can make food. You know, there's that technology tree. But there's let me read them out. There's anatomy and alchemy. There's theology, which is like the church, because you're burying bodies in the church. You become affiliated with the church, and you start doing services and stuff like that, and you learn about theology and the graves and shit, right? You've got book writing, so you write books to make a better service. So every like once a week, you've got a service in front of the whole, and you gather everyone in.
Service, yeah.
And then if you write a decent like speech because you've written it down, then you get a better reward, as in like better faith points.
Okay.
But faith points to spend on shit. There's farming and nature, there's smithing, building, and cookery. All of those have got their own skill trees. It's fucking huge, this game. And it's one of those games that does not hold your hand. If you don't know what to do next, it's fucking tough. But the beauty of it is you're like scratching your head, like I need some, because there's 3 different currencies in the game. There's like the red currency, which is...
I assume no premium currency, right?
No premium currency. There's the red, green, and blue, right? And the red one you earn by doing manual labor with your hands. The green one you earn by... I can't remember exactly how. I should have probably made some notes about this game, but I didn't. And the blue one is all about faith and theology and stuff like that, and spiritual. So you amass this currency as you go along, and you unlock the skill trees out of the unlocks in the skill trees. So you get blueprints from the skill tree to be able to craft new stuff, as well as you unlock new items and stuff that you can find and amass. So at a certain point you're like, I need some spiritual points in order to unlock the next bit to this, and you're like scratching your head. I don't know how to do it, but it works out that there's multiple ways to be able to earn these spiritual points, and there's multiple ways to achieve the same goal. So you're basically thrown out in this world, and there's loads of things to do. There's loads of ways to go. There's like NPCs who all want little things doing for them, and it's up to you. And that's what I love about it, right?
This is sandbox.
Yeah, it's completely up to you, and it's a proper RPG with decent progression in it. And you can go in whatever way you want. So you can focus on maybe your building skills and your other technology skills rather than your faith, or you can put a lot of time into developing the church and earning unlocks that way. It's and then all the NPCs have got their own little tasks you want to do for them, and then if they unlock, if you do something for someone, you might unlock a new area or something to go into. You know what I mean? It's all very up to you, and that's what I love about it. So I would recommend because I do love RPGs and these like pixel art things. I've played Stardew Valley and enjoyed that a lot. I played Golf Story, which is one of my favorite games on the Switch, and I thought I'd just pick this up to see what it's like. Yeah. And it does take a bit of getting into, because there's that hurdle of like being overwhelmed with not knowing what to do. And some people criticize it for being a bit grindy, but I don't mind that. If you're progressing, you've got to go out and get like cut down 5 trees and bring them back, and then process them into like logs of wood so that you can go and make a bridge down the road or something, so you can get into the next area. I don't mind,
Yeah, a grind isn't a grind if you're enjoying the grind, right? Like, it's only grindy if you don't really like it.
It's weird because the Steam reviews of this game are pretty high. It's like 9 out of 10 on Steam. So when it released in 2018, it was received pretty well. But if you look at the reviews from the Nintendo outlets for the Nintendo Switch review, they're all pretty low. They're like 5 or 6 out of 10. And I'm wondering, and a lot of, it's just my cynical brain's working, thinking, these people reviewing this game are just used to like hand holding, nice looking Nintendo games or whatever, and they just don't get what this is going on. I mean, I'm only 10, 15 hours into it, but I am enjoying it, and I do want to play it at every waking moment. And it's the first time I felt like that about a game for a good while. So check it out for those of you who have
Graveyard Keeper,
who have missed this one. because I think it was £17 I picked it up for, but there's a couple of expansions to it which take it up to like £24 for the whole version of it. And I think it was on offer at the time that I purchased it, which was a couple of days ago. Developed by Lazy Bear Games, published by Tiny Build. And I recommend checking it out if you guys want to. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of gameplay. If you like that kind of game, there's a lot of it. And that kind of brings me to my next talking point. My whole fucking thing's gone weird here.
Is your computer frozen on you?
My trackpad's not working. So what I'm going to do is just force quit that. Yeah, my trackpad just ain't working. Sorry about this, guys. So what was my next point? Yeah, talking about the Outriders event. So
yeah, I
was luckily invited to go to Poland by Square Enix, and they said, come to Poland and play Outriders. And Outriders...
Very, very jealous.
Which I can't... Well, next time, Henry, you'll get... Look at his face. He's so hurt.
It's a game I was interested in, and you got invited.
He's so upset. Yeah, but the fact is, I went, and Henry didn't, so... You've made me lose the train of thought now, Henry.
I'm not sorry.
So, yeah, I can't talk about the game. I can tell you about what it was like there. So they sent me on a plane. I went to the Moxie Hotel in Warsaw. I don't know if any of you. And then there's an event in the same kind of building. And when I walked in, there's into the event. There's all these setups there. And we know that it's a 3-player co-op or drop-in, drop-out game. We know that it's a third-person shooter, which is different from Bulletstorm because it's People Can Fly, which is the developer. And we already know that it's a new IP, but we don't know much more about that. Well, I do, but I can't tell you. So yeah, it was an awesome event, which I got to interview. I got the very first interview with the devs because I had to leave early to get a connecting flight back to Liverpool. I got shoehorned in before the interviews were scheduled to start, so they sat down with me for 50 minutes. So I was the very first guy to interview them on the about this game, and I got a decent interview, which I will release. I didn't film it, record it with the camera, but I did with the microphone. Yeah, so I've got some good information about that. I met a couple of decent people. I met a guy called Jake from Australia, and he works at Push Start in Australia. He's a journalist for an outlet. And I also met Albert from Norway, who works on Pixel TV. Denmark. he's gonna hate me for that. In Denmark, Pixel TV or something. So it's quite a well-known TV show. It's a gaming-focused TV show in Denmark.
Remember when those were a thing?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're not a thing anymore. So why won't my...
Is your computer still being a bitch?
Yeah, I'm being totally done over by this. I'm gonna have to restart it. Yeah, so expect a lot of Outriders content.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Once you're allowed. It's
not going to be too long. I've got gameplay footage of my time playing it after a certain point. So I've got that to show off, which is pretty cool. And yeah, expect a lot of Outriders content. And now we've made the connection, made the introduction to the people from Square Enix, who, interestingly enough, one of the head influencer, the top guy for influencer relations or something, the main guy throughout of the global influencer strategy dude. He's a fan of PGG, and he watches.
I'm sure you're watching right now.
I don't think he watches the podcasts.
In that case, screw you.
Screw you. Yeah. So because he's familiar with the content, he was very friendly. Let's put it that way. And he provided a warm welcome, and he looked after me while I was there, which he didn't do for everyone else. And this is the main guy, the boss of the people who invited me, essentially. So I was very humbled by that.
Who cares if the game was any good? You made a new friend.
Yeah, and hopefully with my coverage, I can still be independent in terms of my opinion, because what I don't want to do is because they flew me over and put me up in a hotel, I don't want that to cloud my coverage.
It wasn't nice to me, so I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Henry doesn't give a fuck, so we can unload both barrels. But he will give us access to Final Fantasy remakes. So
yeah, I'll try and be nice.
Yeah, no, I'm only joking. Since we are bought and paid for now,
we're shills.
We've got to watch what we say now. Do you know what I mean? Shing out to the max. No. On a serious note, yeah, I will be honest about Outlanders. I promise. And with that said. I am done, and my computer is back on, so that was totally putting me off balance, but it's back now. So let's move on to the next segment of this show.
Are we doing Discord questions now?
We are doing Discord questions.
Okay. Do you want me to take the first one? Because you're a bit flustered.
Yeah, I was 3 things going on at once. Like, you were having a sulk, you were having a proper strop, my computer wasn't working, and I was trying to talk. So it's like, men can't multitask. Fuck you, I just did. Trying to manage your feelings, your broken heart, and my computer and the people who are watching and listening. And I didn't do too bad a job, but we got through it, guys.
There's no such thing as multitasking. There's just doing lots of things subpar. Yeah. Anyway, first question up from our Discord questions, which are provided by our lovely patrons, is from Cloney99. As I've mentioned in the comments last week and in the PGG Discord already, I do believe the recent influx of company spokespeople calling their overtime and release window stress period crunch is an attempt of the industry to, probably deliberately, water down the term crunch. Sorry, that was a very long sentence. Mm-hmm. So more people are coming out and saying crunch, and that's to kind of desensitize us to it and water it down. Crunch used to mean people sleeping 4 hours at work, wearing diapers, and working 7 days a week. Crunch is now associated, through last week's news, with some hours of overtime and stressful launch periods. I do believe we should get ahead of this. Crunch is an evil word, and we should rightfully criticize companies that utilize it to get stuff done. What do you think about this? I think the question here is, do we need a term for extreme crunch versus light crunch? And then there's a little edit at the end. Crunch in the IT industry is often considered the period before a launch that is just stressful and rewarded once completed, i.e. 50 to 60 hour weeks, but a raise if you succeed in the launch and the company gets a bonus. I don't think it means the same in the gaming industry due to the bad, in inverted commas, crunch that hit the news in that context.
It's a difficult one. I think fundamentally it's all about semantics, isn't it? It's a game of semantics. It's like, what do you mean by the word crunch, and what do other people mean? And because they've used it in this context, does that mean that we should always use it in that context? Does that mean we can't use it in the old context? Or if you're saying it in the IT industry, can we not use it interchangeably now? Because some people associate crunch with something that's really, really bad. And yet, that is a fighter plane. That is a fighter plane. Don't know if you can hear that. We're going to get bombed like World War II.
Coronavirus, they got to kill it. It's here at the UK now, apparently.
Yeah, it's just the road in the Wirral. Yeah. That's where they're sticking them.
It's only the Wirral, though. Just cut it loose. It's its own jagged bit of land.
Chop it off and let it float out into sea.
Scotland's problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, crunch. Like I definitely think there needs to be a extreme crunch word and a light crunch word, but that's never going to happen because crunch means different things to different people.
Like a crispy crunch, like when you're eating crisps, or like
even if you think of crisps, a Walker's crisp doesn't crunch as half as much as a McCoy's crisp.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to define your terms here. You need to tell people what you mean by crunch. And I mean, crunch, you're talking CD Projekt, the CEO, Martin Iwinski, I'm sure it was him, he came out and said, yeah, we're going to be crunching. That's just the nature of the industry. That's, and you say that he's downplaying the word crunch. And maybe in his mind, he thinks that all crunches is overtime, paid overtime, especially on a voluntary basis. Especially
with someone whose first language isn't English as well, which I think is often misunderstood. Who said it recently as well? The Doom guys, idsoft, said it as well, that they were going to be crunching a little bit, but they really tried to stress that it's voluntary. And again, like, we will never know until someone like Jason Schreier speaks to all of these devs and they're like, no, that was fucking bullshit, I'm not doing that again. But for me, it comes down to if it's voluntary. Because some people, when you really, really like your job...
If it is, it's just overtime then. It's just paid overtime is all it is,
It's just
right?
paid overtime.
Like, I crunched then. In fact, when I worked in the factory, I used to crunch if I did pay overtime, if that's the definition. I used to crunch. Like, where's the outrage for me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I used to regularly work 50-hour weeks in just a shitty retail job, and it's just because...
Henry crunched on his salad in the Subway.
I didn't like doing it, but I mean, I got paid more.
Yeah.
The more I worked, the more I got paid.
We were crunchy salad, whereas like devs who were wearing diapers out there they're crunchy like McCoy's, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're McCoy's crunch.
Yeah, for real men.
Crunch, yeah.
But yeah, it's a tricky one, and I don't think we'll know until after the fact with hindsight.
No, I think the best thing to do is
just don't say the word.
Yeah. Or just don't get upset by words and
jump to conclusions.
Yeah, jumping to conclusions, because the reason we're upset about crunch in the past was because of the details provided by Jason Schreier, given to him by first-party sources, talking about the conditions at Rockstar and on these other places like that. Those are the conditions that we get. Those are the reasons why we get upset, because we hear these stories about people who've worked in these conditions. We don't know that is the case at these places, and for all we know, they're getting treated really well. So why get upset because he used a word that wasn't he wasn't clear about what it means?
I guarantee with a game of the scale of Cyberpunk and its cultural scale, and how popular it is just in pre-release stuff, I guarantee if there is bad crunch there, it will come out, because there's nowhere to hide when your game is that big. And someone like an investigative person like Jason Schreier will speak to all these people anonymously and put together a really scathing report, and then we will know, and then we'll be like, no, that's bullshit, CD Projekt, you're being dicks. But if it's not there, then it's not going to happen.
The reason why Jason Schreier's article and coverage of this is so important, and why he did such a good job with that, is because it's got all developers around the world scared of the same expose thing happening to them, because it's hard. Rockstar's reputation so badly that nobody wants to be thrown in the same box as them. So therefore, they're now obligated to look after their employees more than they would have done when the threat of exposing them wasn't there.
And especially when you get to the end of a project, you're not tied into it with a contract, because a lot of these people, they are contractually obliged to stay, and they're often afraid to leave as well, because there's a lot of pressure and all that shit. But then after the fact, they can be like, yeah, see ya, I'm going to go work for some pleasant company. I'm sure a lot of the people over at Blizzard right now are thinking the same thing, because man, this fucking sucks. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a question that I don't think is going away anytime soon. With regard to what crunch really means.
Yeah,
that could be
what does crunch really mean?
Be a really good, interesting video.
Okay.
Right, let's move on anyway.
Next question from Cloney again. Is a shag, marry, kill? Now, Crisis on Infinite Actress Edition. Crisis.
So, in case you don't know, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, it's
a comic book, and now they just did a TV show of it. It's a crossover event full of loads of DC superheroes in alternate realities.
It's already over my head, but the options are Corey Anders, aka Starfire from Titans, Felicity Smoke, aka Overwatch from Arrow, or Megan Moores, aka Miss Martin from Supergirl. The twist this time: since the recent Crisis on Infinite Earths event in the show jumbled up all realities, your choice will happen to the in-universe character, and the actress playing them will replace them in-universe. So if you marry Starfire, you have to help the actress find her way around that universe with the powers of the character. It's so over my head, I'm not sure I'm going to get anywhere. I'm just going to look at the pictures and decide.
The twist, it has kind of thrown me off. I think the pictures are one thing, and I can work with that, but the twist is racking my little broken brain at the moment.
What? I mean, she looks pretty young.
A key thing to know.
Provided us with a 13-year-old at the end or something.
No. So Starfire, she's an alien, and she's basically got the power of a star. I have no idea about Overwatch other than she's smoking hot based on that picture.
Yeah.
And then...
Is
it Ms. Martian? Yeah, Ms. Martian. She's a Martian, but she can shapeshift. which is really important. Bear that in mind.
I was going to say she's going to get binned off straight away.
She doesn't look great in that picture. She doesn't look great in that picture, but she can shapeshift, which is hella useful.
It's about hella useful. Let's put it that way. Okay, I'm marrying Overwatch.
Ain't no doubt about it.
There's no regret to waking up next to that every morning. And then I guess I'm banging Miss Martin, providing she's of legal age by the looks of that picture. But I'm banging Miss Martin, and I don't know. I'm
not crazy about this version of Starfire. I don't like her character design that much. So I think, I'm going to go marry Overwatch. I'm going to shag Miss Martian to keep that shapeshifter thing going. She can be a mistress, and then unfortunately Starfire's getting killed.
No, I'm going to change my mind just because you've made that decision. I don't want to go the same as you. I'm going to bin off the Martian.
Yeah.
Because it's dubious where I don't know. Is she like a decent shapeshifter, or is she like,
she's pretty good. Well, just don't go near her with a match. No candles for a romantic evening.
I'm going to bin her off. I'm going to shag the Starfire because she got a banging pair of boots, like thigh-high boots and stockings, and she's got a tasty little dress on and fiery
stockings
pink
are
hair
way to a man's heart.
And she's got some fur. I mean, I'm feeling it.
Okay.
I'm feeling it. I'm just going to mix her up there just so that you don't.
Still not entirely convinced on this twist. It's so twisty. I
don't even know the backgrounds of the character, so it doesn't apply to me.
Your choice will happen to the in-universe character, and the actress playing them will replace them in-universe. So we marry the character in our reality, and then the actor has to be them in their reality, but their actor won't have any superpowers because they're not real, right?
Let's just not think too much about that and move on.
Sorry. I'm not actually that sorry, but whatever. Earthworm Ben's next. So, as of writing this, it's believed that Cyberpunk has been delayed so that it can support the lowest end consoles whilst not sacrificing a visual downgrade that PC, the X, or next gen could possibly bring. Do you see Microsoft's promise of making all Series X games work on the One for a minimum of 2 years contributing to this problem with the future releases? Or do you think some companies that favour quality will seek alternative methods such as staggered release schedules, or maybe just seek exclusivity deals? So I didn't realise this was a promise made by Microsoft. So they've said that all of their games will run on the Xbox Series X, so their brand new console coming out at the end of the year, and the current Xbox One platform. So they're going to have cross-generational for at least 2 years, which is quite a long time to me, especially if they're saying it's everything, every game across the board. Oh, there's another jet.
There's another bomber.
They must have missed with the first one. I don't know. I feel like that kind of does hold them back. We don't know enough about the PS5 at all, other than it's called the PS5. We don't know anything concrete. So maybe they're going to try and do the same sort of thing to try and bridge the gap a bit more. But this doesn't. I don't know.
There was an interesting article or information released about a week ago saying that only 11% of devs who were asked were saying they were developing game for PS5, and 9% were working on games for the Series X currently. So I say around 10% of all developers who were, I don't know which developers they asked, but there was a bunch of them. Around 10% are working on next gen. So this only applies to those developers, right? So there's only potentially because everyone else is working on current gen.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem for them to be supported by the Xbox One X for now. So I think didn't Microsoft say only the first party, that only applies to first party titles?
That's true.
They've made so many games backwards compatible in the past. They've carried them forward. That's the other way, isn't it? So that's
forwards compatible. Well, I think it takes every generation a couple of years to really figure out what it's capable of and optimize it.
Yeah.
Because if you look at a game like, what was the one? It was one of the PS4 launch titles. It was fine. Infamous Second Son. It looked very pretty, but it didn't do anything interesting
Above
at
and
all.
beyond,
That's
yeah.
because they didn't really know how to push the
capacity,
system, and how to optimize it and maximize it.
I think there's so many games in production now already that were always already targeting old gen consoles. Them consoles aren't going to be exploding anytime soon. People are still going to have those consoles in their homes. So if they continue developing those games and release them maybe early next year, late next year on the old consoles, it's no big deal then to then work on a newer version. Whereas if developers are starting a project now, then they don't really want to be focused on the old console hardware, so they'll be focused on the new hardware, and it'll take them 2 to 3 years to make a game anyway. So I think in terms of practicality, it's not going to matter that much because of the way that these things, the development cycles are pretty long anyway, and a bunch of 90% of developers are already working. What they're working on right now is already going to be available for the older generation consoles anyway. So it's only this restriction of being available to play on Xbox One X only applies to 9% of the developers as per these stats that came out. I don't see it being a big problem. I don't see it holding back anyone for that matter. Why would you just, I don't know, from a developer's point of view, I think the decision to make a next gen, if you're starting a project now, obviously you're targeting the new consoles. If you started maybe a year or two ago, you're already in the works of making the older generation game anyway, so it's not going to matter to you. So I don't know.
Yeah, I guess the process is the ball's already started rolling.
It's a storm in a teacup, if you ask me.
Yeah, and I don't feel like this is that different to any other generation, because it does happen all the time. We get the cross-generational releases, and then eventually they just sort of stop, unless you're fucking, what's the game? Just Dance, which 19 launched on, or 20 launched on the Wii. It must be the only title still on the Wii, which is brilliant. Anyway, thank you very much for your question. I think you're up for the next one if you've...
Okay, so the next question... Well, actually... Oh, yes, the big one, Akimaran. And the next one, I've got to read Net Sharks anyway, so do you want to do that?
I'll do the big one. The themed one. So this is from Akimaran. Back with another round of CEO Simulator. I missed last week's podcast. Sorry about... Did you? Well, maybe you did.
We forgive you.
Let's just say Coop Corp and Goliath Studios had a quiet week. I mean, we're the biggest company.
All this is happening over the course of weeks.
Yeah, in real time.
Then there's a lot going on. So we need a rest.
Except they were busy with buying small companies. Okay. So in case you didn't know, we've been doing a sort of spin-off of Shag, Marry, Kill, where I am the head of my company called Coop Corp, and Gaz is the head of his company called Goliath Studios, and we are both sort of tyrannical Activision types, but every now and then we're like, no, we're going to do something good.
So we get presented with 3 options every week with 3 different games or IPs or whatever, and we've got to decide what to do with them or what to do with each company and why we would do it, and that's why it's fun.
It's normally like a reboot, a cancel, or like sequel or some shit. Okay, Firaxis was bought by Goliath Studio. Creative Assembly was bought by Coop Corp. Paradox had to close its doors. As you were quick to notice, the underlying theme was studios that made successful strategy games. I played a fair bit of Civilization myself and fell victim to the one more turn trap. So please, Gaz, treat the Civ games with respect. I feel a lot of gravitas with that. It's like, treat them with respect.
Yeah, please. So please.
Please. This week's decision revolves around crossovers. Seeing as you have a fair bit of IPs under your disposal, not disposable, why not mash 2 of them together in a hopeless attempt to get the money out of the 2 game communities? I'm going to give you a couple of games. You can choose which 2 will be combined. The genre of the game can be anything, as long as there are some characteristics of the gameplay left intact. For example, combining Mirror's Edge with Age of Empires requires the game to have RTS elements with a first-person free-running elements with a medieval dressed Faith, protagonist from Mirror's Edge. Bonus points for a title, for example, Mirror's Empires or Age of Edge. Okay. Age of Edge sounds like a subreddit. That's brilliant.
Age of Edge.
Okay. Here are your games to choose from. So we get to pick 2 from the following.
And mash them together.
Mario Kart, Resident Evil, Star Wars Battlefront, Outlast, Donkey Kong, Borderlands, Uncharted, Minecraft, Sims, and Grand Theft Auto.
Good games.
The goal here is to make the most fun combination or the most profitable. Okay. There's some serious potentials in here.
Yeah.
All right, well, I've just read all that out, so I imagine you've been thinking so.
No, not really, but...
of course.
But let's have a look at it. So Mario Kart, we're talking racing game with cute, colourful characters. Resident Evil, a dark, gritty game about...
shooter.
Yeah, zombie game. Star Wars Battlefront, first-person shooter in a Star Wars universe, so that's quite profitable. Outlast is a coward simulator where you just got to run away from bad guys, but again, another horror game. Donkey Kong, which, I mean, depends which iteration of it, but...
when I hear Donkey Kong, I think of the original where he's throwing barrels
down, yeah. Borderlands, which is a loot shooter. Uncharted, which is a narrative-driven adventure.
Cinematic action thing.
Minecraft, which is your kiddie game where we can build a lot of shit and get loads of your friends playing. The Sims is a girls' game. Grand Theft Auto.
Sims 4 is out.
I like the way you nodded. I was like,
Sims 4 is out on PSN this week, and my girlfriend got really excited.
Sorry for all you guys who play The Sims, but it's always people, the girls on Twitter who will get excited about it. I never see a guy get excited about an update for Sims. Yeah. It's like domestic simulator, isn't it? It's how to make it.
If you like it, cool. But I think it's hilarious when you see people at like...
I used to play Sims, I'll be honest.
Comic-Cons and shit, where they've got the green crystal above their head. They're just wearing normal clothes. Oh, yeah. What are you? I'm a sim.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite clever.
And then Grand Theft Auto, which is a game that you can do anything in. Let's be honest, you can do anything in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I think Grand Theft Auto, you cover most of the bases if you have that as one of your games.
Absolutely.
There's loads of different ones. Part of me was that I'd love a really interesting horror Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
There's a book called, I think, Death Troopers or something, and it's literally about a space station full of zombie stormtroopers. Yeah. It sounds dope. So if you put Star Wars and Resident Evil, that could be cool. Star Wars and Uncharted, we sort of got with what the fuck was it called? I talked about it earlier. Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
But I didn't love that, so I could do it better, or I could do it my way at least.
As a CEO, I'm going to make an executive decision here. As CEO of a company, Grand Theft Auto has to be chosen because that is the money maker. It is one of the GTA 5 is one of the biggest entertainment games of all time, and it made the most money. So I have to choose that. I'm going to smash that in the face of Resident Evil because I love the Red Dead Redemption DLC, the original Red Dead Redemption. Yeah. What was it called?
Undead Nightmare.
Undead Nightmare. I love that, right? So zombies everywhere. And I just love that. So if we make Grand Theft Auto and Resident Evil together, Grand Theft Evil.
Grand Theft Evil, yeah.
Grand Theft Resident Theft Auto. Then we've got the attraction of a huge sprawling open world game where you can do pretty much anything in it, and also you've got the tense like moments of a Resident Evil game where you're getting chased by zombies, and it would be awesome to inhabit a big large city which has been taken over by
zombies,
by evil zombies. So that's what I'm going to go with. That's my answer.
It's a good one, and I feel like I probably shouldn't pick Grand Theft Auto because it's what you've picked, but it's the best one.
You've got to make the right decision for the CEO.
But we're rival companies, you see, and we can't both have the same IP. I think a Mario Kart / Grand Theft Auto would be really funny because it would be Mario Kart but proper fucking violent.
Yeah,
really.
Borderlands Mario Kart might work.
I don't really care about Borderlands though. I think I would do a Star Wars Uncharted.
Yeah.
But I would do it my way.
Isn't that already...
Exactly.
Wasn't that already made in Fallen Order?
Exactly. That's what I said. But I do it my way. And evidently, Fallen Order makes a lot of money. I would make it not a fucking Dark Souls clone.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people like that. I don't. And I don't want to play Dark Souls games. I don't want to play a Dark Souls Star Wars game. It was fine. It was fun, but it's overrated in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to take that. It's going to take all of the really over the top set pieces that you do in Uncharted, but you're a Jedi, so it's fine. Like Drake survives everything, but you're a Jedi, so you can just do that anyway. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
There you go.
I know. I'd fucking revive Star Wars 1313. The Battlefront, Star Wars branding, and Uncharted together. I'm bringing back Star Wars 1313. It's going to be
done
fucking sick.
and done. Next
game of the year 2020.
Thanks for your question, Mr. Akimara. Next one from Metal Shark. And another recurring question here, which I always get very excited about. Another quiz targeted at Henry, who may be joining the PC Master Race to aid knowledge transfer from Gaz. This time, is it a ZX? Don't be Googling this shit.
No, I'm zooming in so I can read the fucking
So
question.
there's like 10 different questions, and Henry has to work out, is it a ZX Spectrum game or a piece of PC hardware? Okay? So, the first option, Henry, is Tapper a Spectrum game or a PC hardware? Tapper.
PC hardware.
It's a game.
I thought that, but I went against my instincts.
1983 arcade game developed by Marvin Games and Associates.
Are you familiar with all of these, by the way?
Tapper. No. I'd say no. Ball Blazer is the next one, Henry. Is it a PC hardware or a Specky game? I'm
going to say a Spectrum game.
It is a Specky game from 1984. Sports game created by Lucasfilm Games. Next up, Voodoo. Specky or PC?
PC.
It is PC. Graphics card series from 3DFX Interactive. Next up, is Titan Sphere a Specky game or PC hardware? Titan Sphere.
PC game. No, Spectrum game, not PC game.
It's a PC game controller with a ball in the middle by second generation research laboratories.
It sounds really sci-fi, so I was like, maybe that could be a sci-fi game.
Okay, next up, ID with a little I and a big D.
That's got to be a PC thing in my head.
It's a Specky game, a text-based game developed by Mel Coucher and Colin Jones, published by Control in 1986. Next up, QCAT.
PC.
CUE Cat. It's a PC barcode scanner manufactured by vendors of Radio Shack Corporation in the early 2000s. Next up, Jackal.
Spectrum game.
It's a Specky game, overhead, run and gun style shoot 'em up.
It's a Jackal.
By Konami, ported in 1998. Next up, Football Mouse.
Presumably, it's a bit of PC kit.
It is a Logitech mouse from 2004, resembling an American football. Next up, Streaker.
Spectrum game.
It is a Specky game, arcade adventure game published by Mastertronic on their Bulldog label in 1987. Next and lastly, Shine 2.
Now I'm going to go against what I think is more obvious, and I'm going to say it's a PC hardware.
It is a keyboard by Ducky, introduced in 2012.
Because the two's like, it's a sequel to a game.
Yeah,
it's not.
Sounds like that.
I did okay. I got, 3-4 wrong? So more than half right.
So next up, do you want to do Super Fleas, and I'll read the long one if you want to skip the Akimara one. I'll read that. If you want to
okay. Where are we? Super Flea. Super Flea, not Super Free. Well, you could be Super Free.
Howdy, cowboy.
Do you think if Microsoft and Sony ever collaborated to make a dual console and work together, would that be beneficial to gaming? No exclusives means more sales, wouldn't it? Or is the age-old saying that competition is good for sales more relevant?
Make a dual console and work together.
It's just a PC at that point, really. I don't know if it's in enough of their best interest, because they don't, in their heads anyway, they can have a whole small pie to themselves rather than sharing half of a big pie.
I don't see the benefit of having just one console out on the market. Like you said, the whole reason why we had PlayStation, I mean, you think about it, right? At the beginning of the last console, when all consoles were announced last time, right? Microsoft shot themselves in the foot by saying, it's on DRM. You can only trade. You can't trade your games with people. You can share your code once or whatever, and then it's tied to your account, so you can't trade with your mates' games willy nilly, right? You can't do that. Imagine it was just that company in the in the industry, that's the way it would be. We had no choice. It was only because PlayStation, Sony were there that they jumped in and said, well, hang on a minute, guess what? You can trade as much as you like. And they did that whole meme with the handing over the thing. This is how you trade games. And because of that, and because of the huge backlash, everyone bought PlayStation. Microsoft realized how much of a fuck up they were.
And they're still recovering from it.
Right? So none of that would have happened. And, obviously they backtracked the whole DRM, 24 hours of playing, and then you got to connect to the internet, all that bullshit. That they were going to follow through with. They would have followed through if it wasn't for competition in the market, right? Essentially. So imagine that would have been the case, and it would still be the case today if there wasn't healthy competition in the market. I don't like the idea of there being only one huge console out in the market, so I don't think it would be good for anyone. Yeah, no exclusives, but the exclusives you do play, you've got to connect. You've always got to be connected to the internet. You can't trade with people. You can't sell used games. It's a nightmare. It sounds like a nightmare to me. Absolutely.
They force each other to be better. That's the nature of competition.
There we go. So hopefully that kind of explains how I feel about the situation. Aki Maren with another big long question. Nostalgia, a word derived from Greek words nostos and algos. Nostos means homecoming, the return to, and algos means pain. It can be interpreted as the pain of a longing for the past, quite a sentiment. Unfortunately, this sentiment or pain is received as something positive. Remember the time that games were great? Here is a HD remake. It is something that is, okay, is this like a story or...
It'll take you back to 2,000 years ago.
Just bear with us, there's not that much left. It is something that is easily exploited and for us consumers easily to give into. We'd buy anything to put a bandage on the pain from the past. It certainly seems to work and great things have come from it. My girlfriend discourages me to buy a game on a newer console if I already have it on an older gen. Why pay money to play a game in HD when the original is covered in dust somewhere in the attic? If you want to relive it, why not play the original, is the question. Which got me thinking, should I incentivize the industry to give me more of what I already know instead of giving me something new, something fresh? I am wondering what your thoughts are on this subject, and if you know any remakes that brought something new to the table.
Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. Like it was done right?
Like it's the new like benchmark for how to change a remake, because not all games should be changed. Not all of them should. No. Some just need a new lick of paint,
spit and polish.
Yeah, spit and polish, spit shine. Other games don't need, but they can do with an updating in terms of mechanics.
Yeah.
Same with what's the other one? Fucking Final Fantasy.
It all depends on how it's done, right? You can do it like a cash grab, not put much effort into it at all, and expect people to pay full price for it, and you feel ripped off, especially if it's not a game that isn't that old, and you're paying for like textures that are just a little bit upgraded or whatever, and you're like, well, is it worth it in this case? Not really. But you're talking about games that are like 10 plus years old that you haven't played for a great while, that we'd never throw on because maybe you're lacking the hardware to play it on these days, or just you played it and you don't own it, or you won't go back to it. Giving them the opportunity to remake that and polish out some of the dated mechanics or whatever, and bring it in a new package, in a shiny new package on a new console, and you can play it. I don't see that as a bad thing. I mean, you just don't listen to your girlfriend, dude. Just don't listen to her. I think that's the point of it.
Well, I think
if she says don't buy a new one, go and play the one in the. That is not the same. It's like, don't buy a new car. Let's use something that she might understand. Don't buy any new shoes because you've got some old shoes. You've got like 10-year-old shoes in that cupboard. Go and put your old shoes on. You've already got shoes. You don't need no new shoes. Tell her that next time she says, don't buy a remaster.
She's your girlfriend, not your mother. Like, just be like, I already own this game. I already own it 3 times. I'm going to buy it again. Are you going to stop me? If it comes to like it's a PS1 game and you don't own a PS1 anymore, then it's either you don't play it, or you buy the new version on your PlayStation or whatever. Like me, I'm playing Final Fantasy. I'm not playing on PS1. I'm playing it on my Switch. I wouldn't be able to play it otherwise. But I do kind of see like what's the point if you literally already have it? If you already have your system and your means to play it and the disc as well, and it's all in good nick, what's the point of buying a new version if it is just a re-release? If it's an HD upscale, okay, maybe because we want to look better. If it's like a full remake like Resident Evil 2, okay, yeah, it's basically a totally different game.
Yeah.
But like, just buy what you want. If you want a game, buy the game. Don't let your lady put you down. I'm sure whatever game you're talking about.
Don't ever listen to what a woman says about games. It's simple, people. Obviously, I am joking.
He's not joking.
I'm joking. I'm using gender stereotypes to diminish women. It's a joke.
They don't talk about games. The only games they play are Sims, right? That's the two things you said today.
Listen, I have never been romantically involved with a person who has been interested in games, and all I've ever seen games as a detractor or as a reason not to spend more time with them. So in my little world, I know there's wonderful people, wonderful women out there who do love games, right? I know they exist out there.
Apparently,
it's like fairies, like
unicorns.
People say they exist, but I've never seen one. So my obviously blinkered version of reality is not what it's like in reality, but my shoes analogy should probably work.
Yeah. Well, the easiest thing to do, and I say easiest because it's still not easy, it's still hard, is to find a way to do it together. I have finally got my girlfriend to enjoy playing Smash with me.
Yeah.
I'm okay at Smash, but I'm nowhere near like any of these like competitive people who fucking just spike everyone all the time. Well, I've got her to a stage where she can hold her own and she can do deliberate moves and actual combos, and when she wins she gets really happy, but if she loses she's still butthurt as fuck. But that's how I've got her into my little pocket world. And Smash, there's a character from like every bright, colourful, friendly game there. So I'm like, all right, well, you like that one?
Something for everyone.
Go play this one.
Something for everyone. Thanks for your question there, Mr. Ackerman. Hopefully, I've given you some practical advice to go forth and, give your better half a something to think about.
Yeah, if she threatens to like throw your PlayStation out the window, throw out one of her dresses or something. Yeah, same thing. Anywho, next question is, I think if we're back in the right order, from DC the Tog. In a world where microtransactions and always online multiplayer games oversaturate the market, sometimes we forget that developers do have the means these days to create absolutely game-changing, pun intended, IPs if they simply looked back on what caused the biggest waves in the community before greed took over. Ooh, that's quite a long sentence. If you were a developer with 3 large studios, unlimited funding, what game would you create? And I think we've answered this in a roundabout way a handful of other times. I don't know. What would you make? If you had 3 large development studios? 3 large studios on one game. That better be like the fucking biggest game in the world. It's never going to run.
Yeah, I'd have a space RPG.
I think I'd lean there.
That works with a world like GTA,
but with loads of planets,
loads of cities, loads of buildings that you can go in, not these like doors that are just locked, and just unlimited freedom to do what you want, right? So you can fuck with people and just like, it's not part of the core game mechanics, but there's other mechanics in there that you can just fuck around with.
I'd love Interstellar game. Let's just call it Interstellar the game. Loads of planets, loads of series, but you can travel all of them in real time, and they're all massive. And if you want to, you can just walk. But unlike a game like Red Dead, which has terrible fast travel, you can just warp to your ship because it's sci-fi. You can
technology in there.
You can make up technology mumbo jumbo, which basically works like magic. Just press a button and you can warp into your spaceship. So then when you're there, you can fly around. But I also want to be able to completely destroy it. Everything.
Yeah.
Like, and not even just in like story path of like, oh, if you don't turn on this button, this city's going to get nuked. Fuck that. I want to manually devastate that place. Mm-hmm. If I walk into a town and some guy bumps into me, like in Red Dead, if someone bumps into me and I'm saying, oh, sorry, and they're like, get your ass out of my face. And I'm like, you're fucking dead then.
Yeah.
I'm going to level that fucking city. The whole planet's gone. I'm going to turn it inside out. That's the game I would make with my 3 studios.
Awesome.
As a piggyback on this, what studios would you get in to do it. I think I'd get someone like Naughty Dog to just do the story and like cinematics and shit. I don't really know what I want in terms of gameplay. It'd be sort of Red Dead-esque in terms of like movement. Although movement in Red Dead 2 wasn't that good.
I don't know. It's a tricky one, and you just got to pick your favorite devs, haven't you? CD Projekt Red, Obsidian, I guess, and
you know, I might take someone like DICE just for their space combat in Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Just the space combat.
Don't change any TTKs. Just give me the space combat.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Akibaran, no, not Akibaran, we've already done that. DC's Hog's personal thing. Personally, I'd revive Star Wars Galaxies with
Good
Black
choice.
Desert Online combat and graphics on a subscription-based platform to keep the content coming, with an emphasis on the ability to do whatever it is you want, an ultimate sandbox, with social events, abilities, player cities, and a survival twist when out in the wild, bringing back the excitement of venturing into the unknown with a friend, not knowing what you'll encounter, and hoping you'll have enough supplies and skills to survive, especially at night.
Absolutely. I'm totally with you there. We are a little bit running late. I've got to film a bloody video. Just dawned on me that I've got another recording to do after this. So thanks for your question. Let's move on quickly though. Earthwind Ben, to get the most from Pokemon now effectively costs a minimum of nearly £110. Not very consumer friendly. Do you see a new era of Nintendo here, especially with Animal Crossing on the horizon? Me also famed for having
I think it must be game.
A game also famed for having a very strong player base. Looking at it, 16 million sold for Pokemon Sword and Shield, but how many people have bought the game twice?
Exactly.
That's 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And people are like, you don't have to buy the game twice. No, nobody buys the game twice. And like, fuck off.
But people do.
Of course
and
people buy the
expecting
game
you
twice.
to. Like, why would they put exclusive content if they didn't want you to buy it twice?
Do I wasting money on remasters? What a total waste of money Sword and Shield is.
I really wouldn't be surprised if the colourful, friendly, pretty Animal Crossing just went proper like meta with what's the dog? Tom Nook. He's like the loan shark, isn't he, or something?
Yeah.
If he was your microtransaction store, completely unironically, just like
tickets.
we're not self-aware at all. We're just going to take all your money, pay
I wouldn't
real
put it
money
past them.
to speed up the development of your house.
I would not fucking put it past them.
Not in the slightest. All right, so we'll move on quickly. I think this is the very last question, and this is
just to touch on. Do you see a new era of Nintendo, especially with new animals? A new era? No, I don't think a new era. I think
they've been in the era for a little while now.
Yeah, I guess they've dabbled with additional monetization, but I think they're slower than everyone else. Maybe they're just coming into the modern games industry where there's the possibility of ripping people off left, right, and centre, and then they're dabbling with it. Whether they'll go the whole way and
it's like going from primary school to high school. You're like, whoa, the world's so much bigger. I
think they're just like I use the analogy of recreational drugs. Like they're just dabbling, right? Whether they'll go full on junkie is another question. We don't know whether they're going to be end up like shooting crystal meth. Do you even shoot crystal meth? I don't know. Behind the bike sheds. I don't know. Fun fact: methamphetamine was used by the stormtroopers in the World War II. The Nazis' blitzkrieg was all fueled by methamphetamine. That's an awesome fact, right?
That's a good fact.
3 days in a row without sleeping, they swept through Holland, Belgium, into France, and got to France in 3 fucking days. They thought it would take them 7 days, but because they were jacked up on meth. They fucking did it without even sleeping, and everyone was like, "Holy fuck!"
But did they still have their teeth when they made it out? Because it rots your teeth and makes your skin fall.
I don't know, but that is a fun fact. They were popping them like pills. There, fucking pills. Let's go. Fucking. I'm watching this awesome show, World War II in colour or something.
Yeah,
the greatest events of World War II.
Peter Jackson thing, I think.
Awesome.
It's amazing how bad people's teeth were just across the board. Then, like just regular guys who were just like he's objectively quite handsome guy, he's got a good chin, and then he smiles for the picture and says, oh Jesus Christ, don't go home to your wife. Anyway, final question now from Not That Rob Lowe says, keep it quick. We will. Year 17 of Game Ages. So this is a rolling question where we have to answer our favourite game from the year of our birth and then +1 for every week that's been going on. Currently we're at week 17, which puts me in 2012. And there was a handful of different games here. Not all of them I've played that were really popular. But Dishonored, Assassin's Creed 3, Telltale's The Walking Dead, Far Cry 3, Binary Domain, which I've mentioned before is a hidden gem, Mass Effect 3, which I didn't play, I've yet to play the Mass Effect series, and Prototype 2, which was a less good version of the first one. But my favourite game has to be Spec Ops: The Line. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It looked like a generic military shooter. It's like, it's just a sandy environment, but it was actually told an interesting story, and is what Call of Duty should have been.
Yeah.
Like telling a mature, dark story about wartime.
Awesome. So my year is 97. So my favorite game from 97, or the runners-up are GTA, the original Grand Theft Auto. It was the winner until I found my actual winner. It was my number one. Theme Hospital was a runner-up to classic strategy, game. Worms was a decent game. I had a lot of good time with. Age of Empires was a real-time strategy game, which was awesome. Gran Turismo. I played a bit of Gran Turismo, and I thought I'd throw that in there. I didn't play it too much. But the winner, the game of 1997, according to me, and that means it's objectively correct no matter what, is GoldenEye. GoldenEye. How can that not be the game of 97? Like, so many good times playing couch co-op with mates. Like, dibs on Odd Job. Nobody's allowed to be Odd Job.
Not allowed to be Odd Job.
Because his hitboxes are so small or whatever, and he's really fast as fuck. But yeah, absolutely, GoldenEye. The skill of GoldenEye was being able to play and look at the other screen and to figure out where they were, and then just coordinate right, and just spatially map out where the person you're playing is, and be able to coordinate that with your controlling your character, turning the corner and then popping them off. That was the skill of GoldenEye.
That's one thing I'm sure loads of kids don't even know about anymore. Screen watching just isn't a thing, because they're playing on their own machines.
Yeah. There you go. So there you go. Now it is time for the Triggered Fanboy comment of the week. So now you've had your theme tune, we are going to go, and this is a weird one, right? Because this guy comments on pretty much it's like the triggered series of comments of the week. This is one is, right? Because this guy is so triggered by the fact, right, that we say throw a coin to your to your.
Oh, he found one of those earlier, yeah.
Okay, so Black Order. This isn't even the first time he comments on it, right?
I've seen.
At Pretty Good Gaming, you are freaking irritating bastards. No, I don't want to hear again. Toss a coin to your fave YouTuber. A dislike is what I toss. I'm so sick of The Witcher. It's already done, so stop it. And then there was like,
stop watching then.
That was on the one that I did in the beginning of the week on Monday, and then the one that you did on Tuesday. He comments again. F you for showing you notice. F you for showing you notice toss a coin and still being a dick, because I think you said that, and you made reference to
probably. I said yes, I'm still doing that.
Yes, I'm still doing it. Yeah,
because people keep complaining. So
you're talking about him, and he's like, F you for saying you notice and still doing it. Oh man,
yeah,
what a winner.
Oh, there was another one though. I did have it, but I think I might have lost it. He said something about it was in broken English, and it might not have been the same guy, but it was like, toxic your toss a coin. So I'll see if I can find it, but it was really funny. There with me. Have you got another one ready to go? Because I've got a few in. Sure. My one from, when was it? Wednesday, which is another Daily Triple headlined about Pokemon being full of shit with their Pokemon Home service, which is a total con. But one of the other stories in that was that Resident Evil 8 has had some details sort of leaked from a alleged playtester, and none of it's confirmed or anything. But one of the facts was that it wasn't going to be called Resident Evil 8. It was going to have a clever name, a pun name. And my favorite, which it's a bit of a slow burner. I was like, what? I didn't quite get it. But this is from YouTube's OK. Well, it's definitely not OK. It says Resident Evil 8 and alive.
8 and alive.
Eaten, but 8 and alive. And sorry, I'll leave. And 19 ups. So yeah, I like that. Well done. Big fan of that. And I did ask for terrible suggestions. One of mine was, I think it was Resident 8 all, or Res 8 didn't all.
Res 8
and Evil.
That's cumbersome. Anyway, next comment from me. Cintron commented, when are you guys going to drop the intro down to just the 4 seconds where it takes to say, hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Daily Triple? When does it stop being new? I'm like, well, it is a good question. Pretty valid question. I think I've stopped saying new.
Well,
it's still new, technically, right?
Well, it's not old. Anyway. Yeah, I mean,
when does it stop being new? When we decide it's
when they like.
The point is, right? If for someone's watching our content for the very first time, it's new to them, right? If you watch the very first Daily Triple and then the second Daily Triple, it's already not new, so it doesn't apply to you. So just ignore the bits that don't apply to you, as well as toss a coin to your YouTube. You know, if that.
I found it.
Did you? On that note,
from the Black Order at Pretty Good Gaming, you're toxic by keep doing it. Toss a coin.
And that was a day ago.
Yeah.
So that was his third comment.
Yesterday's one. You're toxic by keep doing it. Toss a coin.
I love that he doesn't understand that us saying that now leads to more engagement from him. So we have to say it every single time because we know he's going to comment. And although he hates it, he engages by probably disliking, which is a plus for us, and he also comments, and he also watches.
Like if you hate it that much, you're watching to the end of the video.
Yeah.
Like you could not watch the entire video, but maybe you want the news and you don't.
Maybe watch the outtakes because they're pretty good.
The outtakes are fun, but they just fucking skip it. Well, yeah, keep commenting, Black Order. I hope to see you soon. See you again.
I used to watch Drama Alert. Back when there was loads of drama going around, it was a while ago. Him and Grade A Under there was some sort of thing going on. It was a few years ago, right? And for a period, I watched every single of the videos from what did I say it was? Drama Alert. And he has the same intro, and it's so annoying. Let's get right into the news. And I'm like, fucking stop saying it, bitch. And I just skipped it. Skipped it forward, and I didn't have to listen to it. It's like the intro music for Orange is the New Black. I fucking hate that song. And we always skip it because we hate the fucking song. Even before skip was an option on Netflix, I was skipping that shit because it's so freaking annoying. I think it's just the video more than anything. Like close-up of like inmates' faces and that. I think it just disturbs me. Yeah. Anyway, if you don't like it, just skip it, man.
Like, I'm not sitting there watching the theme tune to like Game of Thrones every time because that's like a fucking 2-minute intro. Fuck that.
Oh, you gotta watch that to see where all the locations are.
For the new series, I'll watch it. But if I'm watching it like rewatching it, or like when before season 8, I went back and watched everything to catch up. I was like, I'm not fucking watching this shit. It takes so long. Yeah, it lasts longer than some characters' lifespans. I did have another one from my Wednesday video from Cloney, actually, which I thought was a funny comment. Home office, Henry, must be nice. And then, so I want more people to know that this isn't a home office situation. Trust me, this is my reply. Trust me, no office. It's me tucked up on a sofa with the laptop on a chair in front of me, the mic in my hand, and a duvet draped over the top to dampen the sound. That's exactly the setup. I'm sat like with my legs crossed up on the thing, holding a mic like that, with the computer sort of like that on a separate chair, and then a duvet to dampen the sound. It fucking works.
A home fort, essentially.
Works.
Duvet fort.
The Cloney comments back. Professional YouTuber, ladies and gentlemen. Stellar sound quality for that setup, though. Yeah, I mean, it does the job.
It's not just stellar, it's ideal because there's no reverb getting into the mics at all because it's all dampened. It doesn't go anywhere. So the noise just dies, so you don't get any reverb, which is the problem with this room because we've got like exposed walls that just the sound bounces the sound back, and that's why you get the reverb.
It gets a little hot under a duvet trying to record with a buzzing computer trying to process audio files and shit, but it's what we do. It's what I do for the videos, man. You go.
Thanks for your comments this week. We'll just move on to the final segment of this week, which is the dad joke of the week. Now, Henry, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. What do you call a factory that sells passable products?
I don't know. What do you call a factory that sells passable products?
A satisfactory.
For God's sake.
For God's sake. And there you go. That is marks the dad joke of the week and the end of this podcast. So thank you for bearing with us while we had not only technical difficulties, but Henry threw a wobbler halfway through, and I lost my brain. Henry's been ill. We've been up against it this week, guys, and we made it through. So thanks for sticking with us, and thanks for listening. Like I said, subscribe to the channel. You probably already have, because you're watching. You're like almost 2 hours into a podcast. So if you're watching this far and you're not already subscribed, then more for you. But we've got lots of great content coming up, especially the Outriders stuff, and we'll be having the Final Fantasy coverage when that arrives soon, in a couple of months. There's so many good reasons to be subscribed to PGG, and if you're not subscribed, then you're stupid, basically, aren't you? You're absolutely stupid. So thank you, everybody, for commenting, liking, sharing the videos. I know nobody does that anymore because it's a bit weird, isn't it? But thanks for all the engagement. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all your support, especially on Patreon, because you guys are awesome. We will see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.